The candles were burning bright. Music played softly while people danced under the big tree in our backyard. It was Grandma Rose's special party for turning 80 years old. Everyone was eating cake and telling funny stories. Then my brother Marcus jumped up from his chair. He had a mean smile on his face. Right there, with all our family watching, he pointed at me and said really loud, "This family is honestly embarrassed to have you share our last name with us." My mom smiled like she agreed. My dad gave a little nod that meant yes. I just sat in my seat holding my juice cup, feeling like everything stopped moving. Then Grandma Rose put down her plate. It made a loud noise when it hit the table. She stood up really slow. Even though she's very old, she looked tall and strong. She stared right at Marcus and said one sentence that made his face turn white like paper in just 1 second. Everyone thought the party was over. But really it was just starting. "Hello, I'm Nora Bennett." What happened after Grandma said those words changed everything I thought I knew about my family. If you've ever felt like you don't belong with your own family, hit the like button right now. Stay watching because the best part is coming soon. Growing up in our house, I learned something sad really early. Being the first kid born didn't matter much when the second kid was a boy. From the day Marcus came home as a tiny baby, everything changed. Mom would hold him all the time like he might break. She would whisper that he was special and would make our family proud. Dad didn't say it as much, but when he looked at Marcus, his eyes would shine. He never looked at me that way. I tried really hard though. When I was little, I brought home perfect grades from school. Mom put Marcus's drawings on the fridge instead. In middle school, I won awards for being smart. Dad took Marcus to see a basketball game to celebrate. In high school, I gave the best speech at graduation. They missed it because Marcus had a soccer game far away. I stopped waiting for them to be proud. I just expected them to have reasons why they couldn't come. When I left home for college, everything stayed the same. I paid for school myself by working at night and getting special money for good grades. I finished with the best marks possible. I got a job at a big company that helps people with money. I got better jobs 6 times in 7 years. Now I'm 34 years old. I help run important projects and make good money. People at work think I'm smart. My boss lets me make big choices. My reports say I do great work. But none of that mattered when I visited my family. When I drove home to see them, Mom always asked the same thing. "When are you going to get a real job?" To her, real meant working at Bennett Properties. That's the company Grandma Rose started a long time ago. It grew into something really big. Dad would agree and say, "Marcus sold 5 buildings last month." But Marcus mostly just plays golf and lets other people do the actual work. The money he brags about gets shared with lots of other workers first. But in their eyes, he's the important one. I'm just the daughter who sits at a computer all day. Marcus always found ways to remind me. At family cookouts, Christmas morning, even small birthday parties. He'd say things like I picked the boring life or that the company could have been mine if I cared about family. Mom and Dad loved when he said those things. They'd laugh, mess up his hair, tell him he was right. Only 2 people saw the truth. Grandma Rose and my cousin Emma Taylor. Grandma Rose built the whole company after Grandpa died young. She never cared that I wasn't a boy. She cared that I could understand business stuff when I was really young. She cared that I asked smart questions while Marcus just asked for more cookies. She'd pull me aside at parties. She'd give me books about buildings and money. She'd tell me quietly, "Being smart and working hard, Nora, that's what stays forever." Emma is 2 years younger than me. Her mom is my mom's sister. She watched the same unfair treatment from the side. She was the only one who texted me after every good thing I did with real congratulations. We became best friends. We were the only part of the family where I didn't have to pretend to be smaller. For years, I told myself it didn't hurt. I had my job, my apartment in the city, my own life far away. I could handle the mean comments. The way they talked about Marcus like he already owned everything. I showed up when I was supposed to. I smiled when I was supposed to. Then I went back to my job that actually cared about me. But Grandma's 80th birthday was different. She made it clear this was the last big party she would throw. Everyone knew what that meant. 6 weeks before the party, a fancy envelope came to my mailbox. Grandma Rose had written my name on it herself. Inside was a beautiful invitation on thick paper. It said her 80th birthday party would be in the backyard. No gifts needed, just family. At the bottom, she wrote something extra in her shaky handwriting. "This might be the last party I have here." That one line made me feel sad in a deep way. Our family group chat went crazy that same day. Marcus posted a picture of his invitation. He wrote, "Future boss coming soon," with crown pictures and winking faces. Right away, Mom replied with lots of heart emojis. Dad sent praying hands. Aunts and uncles wrote things like "so proud" and "you deserve it." I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I just typed, "Can't wait to celebrate Grandma." Nobody liked my message. 2 days later, Mom sent me a private text. It was short and cold. "Nora, this party is very important to your grandmother. Please don't do anything to embarrass us." No hello, no explanation. I read it 3 times. Then I wrote back, "Of course." And that was it. She never answered. Marcus kept posting stuff. Every few days, another picture. Him at the office in front of our family company's big sign. An old photo of him as a little kid sitting at Grandma's desk. He'd write things like, "learning from the best and ready to take over." Every post got lots of likes from relatives who never liked my promotion post last year. Then Emma called me one Thursday night. I was still working at my office. She didn't even say hi. "Your brother is acting crazy right now," she said right away. "He's telling everyone Grandma promised him the company when she turns 80. He's already buying new furniture for his office." I laughed, but it sounded sad. Emma spoke quieter. "I'm serious. I heard Aunt Karen say Grandma went to the lawyer 4 times in the past month." 4 times, Nora. That's not normal. I leaned back in my chair. The city lights blinked outside my window. 4 visits in 1 month meant important papers were being changed. Wills, trusts, company rules. Something big was happening. Marcus acting like he already won suddenly felt less like being mean and more like he knew something real. The next week, he video called Mom from the fancy golf place. I was at their house dropping off clothes Mom asked me to pick up. She put him on speaker. "Grandma said I can buy these golf clubs with company money now," he said proudly. "Benefits of being next in line." Mom smiled like he'd done something amazing. Dad walked in, heard the end, and patted Marcus on the shoulder through the phone like he was right there. I stood in the doorway holding hangers and felt invisible again. Emma kept telling me news. She went over to help Grandma sort old photos. She saw folders from the lawyer stacked on the dining table. One had "Change Trust 2025, written on it in Grandma's writing. When Emma asked about it, Grandma changed the subject fast and asked her to make tea. By the time everyone had to say yes or no to coming, the whole family thought the party was also the day Marcus would become the boss. Cousins I hadn't talked to in years texted asking if I was okay with it. One uncle pulled me aside at a cousin's graduation party and said, "You know how it works, boys carry on the name." I smiled, nodded, and left to go to the bathroom to breathe. I almost didn't go to the party. For 3 nights, I looked at plane tickets to anywhere else that weekend. But something made me pack a bag instead. Maybe I was stubborn. Maybe I was curious. The morning I left the city, Emma sent one last text. "Whatever happens, I'm on your side. See you in the backyard." The drive takes exactly 3 hours and 5 minutes when there's not much traffic. I know because I've done it so many times. That Saturday I left at noon. Windows open, music loud enough to quiet my worried thoughts. When I turned onto the familiar street with all the oak trees, my stomach felt tight. The driveway was packed with cars. They lined both sides all the way to the road. I parked far away and walked back carrying the small gift bag I spent too long choosing. As soon as I saw the house, I saw Marcus at the front gate. His arms spread wide like he owned everything. He was greeting cousins with loud laughs and hugs. Dad stood right next to him, hand on Marcus's shoulder, smiling at every person who arrived like they were there for his son instead of Grandma. I walked across the grass. Marcus saw me. For half a second, his smile disappeared. Then he fixed it and yelled out, "Look who finally decided to show up." Few people turned to look. He pulled me into a one-armed hug that felt rough. Then he immediately turned to the next car pulling in. Dad gave me a quick nod, barely looking at me, and followed Marcus. Mom was on the front porch arranging drinks on a shiny tray. She looked up, saw me, and gave the tiniest smile. "You're late," she said, even though I wasn't. "Put your gift on the table inside and come help with the ice." No hug. No "good to see you." Just orders. I slipped through the front door and put my gift with the others. The house smelled like clean lemon and smoke from the grill outside. Memories hit me. Running through these rooms, hiding under that same table when we played games. Everything looked the same but felt completely different. Outside in the back, the setup was huge. A white tent covered half the lawn. Long tables with dark blue tablecloths. A dance floor was being set up near the pool. People in black shirts hurried around with trays of shrimp and small sandwiches. Someone was setting up a drink station under the old magnolia tree. String lights were being tested. They flickered on one by one as the sun started going down. Grandma Rose sat in her favorite chair under the huge oak tree. She wore a simple cream dress and the pearl necklace she only wears for special times. A light blanket covered her knees even though the afternoon was warm. She didn't stand to greet anyone. She just watched. Every person who walked past leaned down to kiss her cheek or shake her hand. Every single time, her sharp blue eyes looked at them like she was remembering something important. I walked over slowly. When I reached her, she grabbed my wrist and pulled me down so she could kiss my cheek properly. "There's my smart girl," she said quietly. Her voice was steady but softer than usual. Her hand was surprisingly strong. She held my hand a second longer than normal, gave it a small squeeze, then let go and turned to the next cousin. Marcus appeared next to me with 2 glasses of fizzy drink. He handed me one and clinked his glass against mine. "To the future," he said with a smile that looked fake. Before I could answer, he was already moving toward a group of cousins, arm raised up high like he'd just won something. Dad found me near the dessert table a few minutes later. He looked relaxed in his light shirt, the same outfit he wears to every family party now that he's mostly retired. "Marcus has everything handled," he said, like that explained why nobody asked me to help with anything. I nodded and ate a bite of cake I didn't want. More guests kept coming. The backyard filled with laughter and people talking over each other. Someone turned on music, old songs Grandma loves. Few aunts started dancing by the pool. Kids ran around chasing bugs that light up, even though it wasn't dark yet. Every time the gate opened, I looked over, hoping something would feel normal. Never did. By 6:30, the sky had turned that beautiful orange color. The people cooking lit the grills. The bartender started pouring stronger drinks. Marcus moved from group to group like someone running for mayor, shaking hands, taking pictures with Grandma, making sure every phone camera caught him right beside her chair. I stayed on the edges, filling my glass more than I should. I watched the whole show unfold. Dinner was still an hour away. At 7:30 exactly, the caterers rang the old brass bell hanging from the tent pole. The crowd began moving toward the long tables with their nice tablecloths. I found my place card tucked between Aunt Sarah and a second cousin I hadn't seen since we were teenagers. Across at the main table sat the important people. Grandma in the center, Marcus sitting firmly on her right side, Dad on her left, Mom right across from them, glowing like she'd already won a prize. The grilled chicken salads came first. Everyone started talking. It was light and friendly at first. Aunt Sarah turned to me with real interest and asked how my job was going in the city. I opened my mouth, ready to mention the big loan I just helped approve when Marcus's voice boomed over everyone. "Speaking of the city, wait until you hear about the beach houses I'm building." Every head turned toward him. My words disappeared. That's how it went for the next 2 hours. Every single time I tried to speak, he took over. Cousin asked what I did for fun on weekends. Marcus immediately started talking about the rooftop pool plan for the top floor. Someone wondered if city living cost a lot of money. Marcus bragged about selling apartments before they were even built. Each interruption was perfectly timed, perfectly loud, perfectly impossible to talk over. By the time the big meat plates arrived, he was standing up, glass raised, describing his amazing plan for Bennett Tower. Dad kept nodding like a toy, adding lines like, "That's my son, always thinking ahead." Mom actually wiped tears from her eyes when Marcus said the building would carry the family name forever. The table clapped. I stared at my bread roll without eating it. I finally got to answer a question from Uncle Ray about bank stuff. I got 4 words out, "We're seeing some changes," before Marcus cut in again. "Speaking of changes, Grandma, remember when you taught me about business on that boat trip when I was 12? That lesson helped me this quarter." Another round of laughter. Mom reached over and squeezed his arm like he'd just invented something amazing. I put my fork down and stopped trying. Dessert was Grandma's favorite coconut cake. 3 layers with sparklers on top. While everyone sang happy birthday off-key, I slipped away from the table. I walked to the darkest corner near the pool where the string lights barely reached. The water looked black and gold. I stood there holding the railing, trying to breathe normally. Emma appeared seconds later holding 2 glasses of fizzy drink. She pressed one into my hand without asking. "I swear if he says my building one more time, I'm pushing him in myself," she said. I let out a shaky laugh and took a long drink. She checked both ways, then whispered barely loud enough to hear. "I wasn't going to tell you until after the cake, but I can't watch this anymore. Grandma signed all the papers last week. I was there helping her sort letters and saw the thick envelope from the lawyer. It was closed and marked finished. She told me to put it straight in the safe. It's done, Nora. Whatever she decided is already final." My heart pounded hard. "You're completely sure?" Emma nodded, eyes wide. "Positive. And from the way she's been watching Marcus all night. Just get ready." We both turned back toward the party. Marcus had grabbed the microphone from the DJ. His arm was around Dad's shoulders. He was leading another toast, declaring the next generation of Bennett leadership starts tonight. Phones were up recording. Mom was crying happy tears into her napkin again. I looked at Emma. "How bad is this about to get?" She gave me a small, fierce smile. "For someone at that table, really bad. For you, maybe the best night of your life." The clock near the pool house showed 9:20. The sparklers on the 3-layer coconut cake had just gone out when the DJ stopped all the music at 9:45 exactly. Marcus grabbed the microphone like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. One hand resting on the back of Grandma's chair, drink raised in the other. He flashed his biggest smile at the 30 relatives watching. "Grandma, from all of us tonight, thank you for believing in the next generation and trusting us with everything you built from nothing." Quiet clapping spread across the tables. Then he turned his whole body toward me. The smile twisted into something mean and cold. "Because let's be honest," he said, voice carrying to every corner. "This family is honestly embarrassed to even share a last name with you." Complete silence. Mom nodded like he'd said the smartest thing ever. Dad's lips curled into that smug grin that meant he agreed completely. A few cousins looked down at their plates. Someone's glass stopped halfway to their mouth. I felt the words hit me like a slap, but I didn't move. I just stared straight back at him. Grandma Rose placed her drink on the table with a slow, crystal-clear sound that somehow made everything else go quiet. She stood up from her chair. No cane, no help. 80 years old and taller in that moment than anyone else in the yard. The lights caught the pearls around her neck and made them shine like ice. She looked directly at Marcus and spoke. Her voice was calm, low, and final. "If this family is embarrassed by Nora, then it clearly has no need for you either, Marcus." You could have heard a pin drop on the grass. His face went white as paper. Mom's hand flew to her chest. Dad's drink slipped from his fingers and broke against the stone ground. The liquid spread like blood. Grandma didn't blink. Last Tuesday, I signed the final changes to the trust and the company papers. Starting yesterday at close of business, 72% of Bennett Properties, full control, is now owned by Nora Bennett. The house here, the lake house, the beach condo, and every piece of furniture in them are hers completely. Marcus Bennett receives a 3% share with no voting rights and nothing more. Jennifer and Richard Bennett are removed from the board and stripped of all voting power permanently. The paperwork is filed with the state. The transfers can't be changed. A woman at the far table actually gasped out loud. Another cousin's phone slipped from her hand and crashed to the ground. Marcus tried to laugh. Came out strangled. Grandma, come on. This is a joke, right? We talked about this for years. You talked, she cut in. Her voice was still quiet. Still deadly. I listened. And I chose. Mom jumped to her feet. Her chair fell backwards. Mother, you can't be serious. Marcus is your only grandson. He just announced to 30 witnesses that his sister embarrasses the family name, Grandma said without raising her voice. Sit down, Jennifer. Dad's face turned purple-red. This will destroy the company. The investors. The company will be in the hands of the one person who never once used my name as a shortcut, Grandma replied. It will be just fine. She turned to the tables, eyes sweeping every frozen face. I built Bennett Properties with rough hands and sleepless nights while some of you were still babies. I have watched who worked, who learned, who respected what this family stands for, and who spent decades riding on reputation alone. Tonight made the last piece crystal clear. Marcus took a stumbling step forward, hands out like he could physically grab the words back. Grandma, please. I didn't mean. You meant every word, she said. And now you live with them. Then she turned to me. For the first time all evening, her face softened completely. Nora, the new passwords and the master keys are in the safe. The board knows and is expecting you Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Congratulations. You earned it. I couldn't find air. All I could do was nod. Tears burned, but I refused to let them fall. Marcus opened his mouth again. Nothing came out. Mom started crying. Loud, messy sobs. Dad just stared at the broken glass at his feet like he didn't recognize the backyard anymore. Grandma sat back down, smoothed her skirt, and lifted her drink again. She took a slow sip while the entire party stayed locked in shocked silence. The clock near the pool house showed 9:51. The night still had a long way to go. 6 months later, everything had settled into something that looked a lot like peace, at least for me. The first Monday after the party, I walked into Bennett Properties headquarters wearing the same navy suit I wore to bank meetings. The board greeted me with handshakes instead of questions. By Wednesday, Marcus's office was empty. By Friday, his name was off the website and his company car was taken back. The official reason was reorganization, but everyone knew the truth. He lasted exactly 3 weeks trying to find another real estate job. Nobody in the area would hire him. Word travels fast when you've publicly insulted the new owner. Last I heard, he was selling used cars at a dealership off the highway, wearing a cheap shirt with someone else's logo on it. Mom and Dad discovered that Grandma's changed trust triggered a huge tax bill the moment the transfer went through. 7 figures they never expected to owe. They put the house on the market the next month, took out a second loan on the beach condo, and still had to sell half of Dad's retirement savings to cover the rest. The backyard where everything exploded now has a for sale sign stuck in the front lawn. Mom sent me photos of the listing like nothing had happened. I never replied. I moved Grandma into the spare wing of my city apartment the week after Thanksgiving. She sold most of her furniture, kept her books and her pearls, and told me she'd never slept better than in the quiet of a home where nobody was pretending for her. We drink coffee on the balcony every morning and talk about business like we used to when I was 12. She still beats me at card games. The messages started almost right away. First from Mom, long crying voice messages about how I was destroying the family. Then Dad, angry emails about lawsuits and what people would think. I saved everything without answering. Then came the cousins, the aunts, the guilt trips disguised as worry. I blocked numbers one by one until my phone finally went quiet. The very last message came from Marcus on a random Tuesday in March. I was in the middle of a board meeting when the text appeared from a number I didn't know. Nora, I'm sorry. I was drunk and stupid that night. Or blood. You can't just throw your only brother away like this. I have nothing left. Please call me. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I typed one line and hit send. You threw yourself away the second you decided disrespect was the same as strength. Goodbye, Marcus. I blocked the number, deleted the conversation, and went back to the meeting like nothing had happened. Some people think cutting off family makes you cold. I used to worry about that too. But 6 months in, I wake up lighter every single day. My apartment is calm. My company is successful. Grandma laughs more in a week now than she did in the previous 10 years. Emma comes over every Sunday and we cook dinner without anyone interrupting to tell us how someone else does it better. I still carry the Bennett name, but now I carry it on my own terms. No more shrinking. No more apologizing for taking up space. No more pretending favoritism is love. Sometimes blood isn't thicker than respect. Sometimes walking away isn't losing a family. It's finally finding yourself. And for the first time in 34 years, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be.